As bulbs start to fade and herbaceous borders grow in leaps and bounds, could summer really be approaching? Here with her sunny disposition, Camilla Bassett-Smith celebrates the new month with her May gardening calendar, bringing a vibrant, shining beacon of colourful joy to our gardens. He waxed lyrical.
Oh, what a lovely introduction. I say the warmer weather is here, but I've still got the bobble for a bit longer.
I think that's nailed on, that bobble.
It is, yeah. It'll be difficult to get it off.
Yeah.
But as you said, May is here, and with it, camassias. Now, I think camassias are a bulb and a plant that perhaps could do with a PR agent. Because they are gorgeous, but I don't think many people know about them, Alan. I don't know what you think. People say, what are those often? Yeah,
they're beautiful, they're elegant, they look right in long grass. Yeah. And often, daffodils fizzle out and don't flower terribly well, some varieties. Tulips certainly fizzle out in long grass. I grow camassias and they just multiply year on year, and they're gorgeous with these spires of stars.
As you said, such a good plant for naturalising, and also a bulb that doesn't mind moist soil. Most bulbs like a drier situation, don't they? And these are just glorious. This one is a blue candle, and it's such a light blue colour, isn't it? But as you said, in a bank, alongside a pond. You can grow them in a herbaceous border as well, but I think they look best, as you said.
I've got some at the back. I've got white ones at the back of a border. Their flowering season isn't long. You're lucky if you get 2 or 3 weeks out of them, but they're so spectacular when they're there. And in long grass, if you've got a bit of meadow grass, that's where they're best for me.
Yeah, really so. And at Chelsea the last few years as well, we've seen more of them there, I think. I think Chris Beardshaw did a garden, and he was actually my tutor at college a very long time ago, but he brought some in and people were looking at them, and I think people are becoming more aware of them. Stunning to grow and something a little bit different. Yeah. And in the asparagus family, which moves us nicely on.
Oh, did you see that link?
See that seamless
link? Did you feel it? Yeah.
I felt it. So asparagus is a crop which is a real delicacy, isn't it, really? It's something, I think, with growing produce, it's always worthwhile growing something that's quite expensive to buy, because then it makes sense to grow it. And these plants, they take a bit of time to get going, don't they? But really worthwhile growing. And I've got some examples here. This is what asparagus does, isn't it, if you leave it?
It turns into fern.
Yes.
Yeah, and after June, you need to let it do that to fuel next year.
So basically, these are asparagus ferns as they would grow if you'd leave them, aren't they? But effectively, this is what you get.
Yeah, and that's that's been ready for cutting for about 2 days now. It had been half that size yesterday. Yes. They put on inches in a day.
They do. They shoot up so quickly. And effectively, that part of it is right at the top
right at the top, there
from this one that hasn't been cut.
Yeah.
But they're such great plants. And I mean, what you would do, get your asparagus knife, which is a really serious piece of equipment, and you would cut under the soil, wouldn't you? Take it down.
And now, the garden at Highgrove, for instance, they cut absolutely everything, don't leave anything at all until the middle of June. Really? So the whole lot comes off.
Yes.
Eat. Middle of June, stop. Let it all come up. Yeah. So don't worry about cutting it all. Oh, I ought to leave 1 or 2.
No.
Yes, you should, but only from the middle of June onwards.
Yes, and then harvest it all and have a good week of asparagus soup and asparagus, all sorts of lovely things.
And May is the month for asparagus.
It is.
And you, as a Gilbert and Sullivan fan, should know that.
Why? Oh, gosh, now you're testing me.
Am I catching you out?
You're catching me out. Tell
me. The gondoliers.
Yes.
Prime ministers and such as they grew like asparagus in May.
Yes.
And dukes were 10 a penny.
Yes.
But you don't often catch her out on Gilbert and Sullivan.
I was thinking, where do they mention asparagus? Yes, of course. Yeah. And I live quite near to Evesham, actually, the Vale of Evesham, which is known for its asparagus.
Country. But now then.
Yes. Hanging baskets.
It looks like work to me.
It's so exciting this time of year because the fear of frost is over, isn't it?
Yep,
fingers crossed.
just about.
And we can get planting our hanging baskets. There's so much choice in all the shops now as to the basket plants that you can get that I'm almost like a child in a sweet shop. Which colour, which ones to get?
They have a bad press, don't they, hanging baskets?
They do. And many councils actually aren't putting them up as much as perhaps they did because of health and safety. But I think in gardens they're so valuable because they make the most of space all around you.
Yeah, and hanging up outside something like our shepherd's hut here and whatnot, they're lovely, and people shouldn't be too snooty about them.
No, I think they're glorious. And so many different ones you can get, from the simple rattan, which
Yes, that's rather lurid, isn't it?
It's quite bright, but it's quite cheap and cheerful. And this one may be something slightly different to the normal plain-coloured rattan.
And of course it will be disguised when things tumble over it.
Yes, exactly. You can cover it in a trailing petunia. To the very basic, Alan, I mean, this is no great example. It's covered in rust from the back of my shed.
It doesn't matter.
But it's such a basic basket, isn't it?
It
And
works.
as you said, it does work. You know, it lasts a long time. This one, I dread to think how long I've had this one. But it does the job, and it's cheap, and it's easy to work with.
Oh, as Simon Lycett would say, not cheap, inexpensive.
Inexpensive, exactly. But we've got some work to do. So you've got a sort of chicken wire one there, which I think looks quite nice. And I've got this one, which I thought was quite interesting. It's
Oh, gosh,
on a bit of an angle.
An angle.
A bit eccentric, like myself.
You've been at your lawn again
So
and very kindly given me some moss
I
to
have,
line
and
with,
it's,
because you've got to stop the compost falling through the holes.
That's true. And lining, you've got moss from my lawn. You can use coir. A lot of people see these, don't they? The coir linings, which are okay, but I prefer moss, or, new to me, I haven't used this before, this is British black wool from sheep.
Can I have a bit of that? Because I haven't got enough moss here.
I did wonder.
Is that what you... Yes, I thought you'd shortchange me.
No, it's not really on,
and
is
my
it?
stuff will be falling through the holes.
Do you want a little bit
more?
more?
So this is just sheep's wool?
Yes, just sheep's wool.
Oh, rather
and
like
it retains water.
Thank you, that's perfect.
Which is really good. It's quite nice as well, the darker colour.
Yeah.
You can get it in white as well, but you don't see it as much. So
peat-free compost.
yes, indeed. Pop that in. Now this is going to be a bit of a challenge, this one on the side for me, I think. We'll see what happens. But it's very good because it retains the moisture.
So I've got white here, have we?
Yes, you have. You've got
Lovely white
sophisticated
Pelargonium.
Sissinghurst style.
Calliope white.
And as you said, it's a good idea to get a mixture of those trailers and also uprights.
Well, it's the old thrillers, fillers and spillers,
Oh, that's
isn't it,
nice.
really? Yeah.
I haven't heard that phrase before. It sounds like a little Gilbert Sullivan song.
They creep into everything.
They do. So, this is going all right so far, I think, she says. I've just got my lining in. I'm going for, now, petunias. I just love trailing petunias, Alan,
Well,
because
they're
all
so
of the
good,
colours,
such good value, aren't they?
these night sky ones with the little dashes on, and then the ones with the white edges. So pretty, and so many different ones that are available. They do sometimes get aphids, don't they? They get a little bit sticky.
But they don't stop flowering, rather like this little thing called bacopa.
Oh,
which,
yes.
again, this is a good spiller.
It is, isn't it?
It'll come down the front.
And it really does spill. I find
Yeah.
with the Bacopa, it's like that now, but wait a few weeks and they literally come right down, don't they? So you've got a scented leaf pelargonium there. Which one is it? I can't remember which
This
scent
one
that
is... You just... Apple.
Apple. Oh, do you have an apple one at home?
No, I don't have an apple
well, you
one.
do now.
I'm taking this home, won't
There
I?
you go. Right, this is harder to do on this side, you know.
I can't get much more in here.
Right.
And if you're worried if the weather is a bit unfavourable when you're doing it, hang it in a porch or a carport or something, just give it a bit of shelter for a week or so before you put it out,
That's
and it's
a
not
good
quite
idea. Just-
such a shock. Got a mixture, you can see my sheep's wool and my moss.
It's very
So,
unique.
moss that side, sheep's wool
That's
that side.
okay, isn't it? Tumbling
Yeah.
from
Oh, I
the
like
side.
that.
I think that looks, yes, a little
Wonderful.
bit unusual.
Thanks, Camilla. As ever, inspirational. Now, May is just days away, and it's the month for one of our most delicate little flowers, which blooms so fleetingly for just 3 weeks. Its fragile beauty is adored by many, including one royal admirer. Simon Lycett explains more about it now, and it is, of course, a lily of the valley.
And it's just...
I mean, what's not to like? I mean, the fragrance.
I think it's always been one of the flowers that I adore the most. And I think it's such a quiet, subtle little grower in the garden, and suddenly you get this amazing fragrance from it. And as a florist, every bride adores it, obviously.
Yeah, well, it was in the Queen's coronation bouquet way back.
Yes.
The Queen Elizabeth II.
Yes.
And you found out in 2022, they were always very reticent about saying what the Queen's favourite flower was. And then...
Yes, the RHS were told by Her late Majesty that it was her favourite flower, Lily of the Valley. And I was really lucky because the RHS asked me to design their Platinum Jubilee tribute to her. And I thought, well, what can it be? It needs to be her flower. So we had 70 pots made by Witchford, lovely English terracotta
flower
pot maker, and we planted them up with Lily of the Valley, her favourite flower, 70 of them, and I created a steel outline, you know, the cipher that we see on our coins and on our stamps that was just so instantly recognisable, and 70 pots of it, and then in the centre we did a smaller cipher of native English foliage.
And you got to show her it too.
I did.
What a treat.
Which was just, yeah, it was magical to meet her again for the final time at Chelsea Flower
Do you remember
Show.
what she said?
She was blown away by the abundance of the flower.
Interesting that, because Edward VII's queen, Queen Alexandra, she liked little flowers. At Sandringham, she had the Victorian bedding taken out, and my poor little flower, she called them, British native flowers and things like that. Another one who liked the simple flower.
Yes.
But it has a history in France too, doesn't it, this
Yes.
thing? Fête Muguet, they call it, the festival of the Muguet, which is Lily of the Valley. Because King Charles IX of France in 1560 was given a bunch of Lily of the Valley by one of his knights and told it would bring him good luck. And forever after, he then gave bunches of Lily of the Valley to ladies of the court as a romantic gesture. And now in France, May Day, every year in France, is Lily of the Valley Day. I wish we did it here.
I wish we did. Someone needs to give our King Charles III a big bunch.
There we are. Then we'd be very grateful. His kind of thing as well, I think, really.
Yes, and we can buy them at this time of the year often in flower shops and florists. And so I thought it'd be fun to create an arrangement. I've got an old pan here, so I'm just covering the drainage holes just with some pieces of slate that will help to keep it moist and not water saturated. I'm going to leave it outside
So it doesn't,
last.
yes, it doesn't matter if it dribbles a bit.
And then I've got
like me.
a lovely old pot that I've planted some up in. Aren't they
terracotta
just
ones glorious? There's something about them.
Yes, I'm a bit obsessive with them. So that sits in there, and then I've just been gently easing these out of their pots, and you see all their lovely rooty growth.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to tuck these around.
So these can go in the garden afterwards, can't they?
Afterwards,
Yeah.
And they quite like to grow in a shady area, don't they?
They do. They can be a bit iffy. They'll either love you, or they'll say, "No, I don't like it very much. Thank you very much. I'm not going to bother."
Yes, I find that if they normally like an area that's quite underwhelming in the garden, it can't really get to, and suddenly you'll get that burst of fragrance when they're in flower.
They used to grow through the bottom of a privet hedge in Yorkshire when I was a kid. I mean, it's ridiculous, really.
They do like to find their own spot, don't they, really?
Yeah, and then they'll run. But if you struggle with them a bit and then you think, oh, just keep moving them around and you will get them eventually. Wonderful ground cover, and then they'll spread, and you get these spears that come up every sort of March. You're doing this really well. I'm going to stop shadowing it.
Tucking a little bit of moss in just to hold those in place, because I want it to look as if it's
I'm with the Queen.
here.
I mean, look at that. It's just so kind of abundant. And with all these buds still to open, I think out on a patio or a terraced table, you know, outside. But you're not done yet, are you?
Well,
I know what you're
I've just
gonna
got another little pot there. And I mean, of course, you could go higher and higher if you wish.
Sort of
And I'm
waterfall.
just nestling that into there.
Yeah.
And it just creates this spectacular, fragrant effect. And then you can always just...
I'm just trying to waft this
Yes.
towards you. Are you getting it at home? The glory. I think, isn't it interesting that we are both obsessed with what is really a simple flower? Never mind your big exotic lily. I would far rather This is a flower that repays close inspection. The actual nature of those bells, which are quite wide, curled up at the edges, does us good, you know, sometimes just to stop and really stare at a flower, don't you think?
And I think it's one of the best flowers for popping into a cute little pot, bringing indoors, having it on the garden table, but just if you've got people for supper or just for yourself, for some enjoyment, just bring it inside and just...
Now that's on your breakfast table.
Oh, what joy.
Gorgeous.
Total joy. And it also does fill a room with fragrance.
Yeah,
a few stems of it go a long, long way.
Yeah. Now, you've got over there some rather neat little bottles. What have you done there?
This is one of my favourite ways of demonstrating how joyous Lily of the Valley are. So I love buying little scruffy old bottles, and...
Sometimes I dig these up in our garden, you know. I think,
Do you?
Well, it's an old farmhouse. I keep them in my greenhouse on the stage
How
and just
fabulous.
line them up. Just dig them up.
Well, the joy of this is 3, 4 stems. I'm a bit mean, so I don't like to cut too many of the lily of the valley when they're flowering in my garden, but just a few stems into a little bottle like that. And then I've just made a little collection of them on an old silver tray from a junk shop. And it's another gorgeous way to showcase just a few of these fragrant flowers that were a favourite of Her late Majesty.
Glorious. I would be told off if I didn't say these are quite poisonous flowers. They're poisonous to dogs if dogs, just keep your dog away from them. I always say to people, there's more poisons underneath your kitchen sink than there are in your garden.
There are,
but
indeed.
it is toxic, so it's wonderful to get close and smell, but, you know, don't eat it. But they are glorious. Simon, thank you for that. And as you say, only a brief, well, 3 weeks. If people often say to me, can you tell me something that'll flower all year round in my garden? You wouldn't want it.
No.
Because it'd be bored.
Yes.
You'd be bored with it.
Yes.
But these they're to look forward to when the spears come out the ground. Simon, you're a star as ever. A waterfall of lily of the valley. Well done, Simon. A delight.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. May is a bit of a conundrum for gardeners. We're still enjoying the colours and shapes from the remaining spring bulbs, but we're starting to see the delicate, taller and wider petalled blooms of plants that will take us into summer. And celebrating that abundance of flowers now, floral designer Jonathan Mosley. Jonathan, well, look at you. I mean, you say the season, don't you, in what you're wearing? Lovely to see you.
Absolutely. It's nice to really sort of get all these flowers back out there, isn't
get
it,
a bit
Alan?
of bounty coming in.
A bit of volume as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because there's some great blooms at this time of year, isn't there? Rhododendrons, you know, they're sort of just having that sort of last flurry, aren't they, of wonderfulness. And they're big, they're buoyant, they're bountiful and in your face.
Do they cut well?
They do actually, yeah. It's that sort of period when you do cut them. What I did with these, Alan, I picked those rhododendrons a few days ago when they're in bud, let them open out gradually, because you do find if you pick them from the bush while they're in full flower, they tend to go over quite quickly.
How do you prepare the base of them? Because they're quite woody. I saw you
They
doing a
are
slanting
woody.
cut.
I do this little bit of scraping thing where when it's a barky stem, just slice a little bit of that outer stem structure away. They'll hydrate a lot better.
Take it up better,
yeah, they really will.
I love the colours in that. Look at that, pinks and purples
it's just
and
so
blues.
summery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chelsea sort of colours,
yeah.
these.
Oh, gosh. The annual feast.
The feast of flowers and things.
It's the best blue, isn't it?
Just such a wonderful blue.
Yeah.
And the great thing about delphiniums is they're great back of the border plants, aren't they? Give some volume, some structure.
And then when they're
architectural.
gone, you know, you get a good few weeks out of the back.
The thing is with delphiniums as well, Alan, from a flower engine point of view, they're a hollow stem flower, so they can dry out quite quickly. And certainly the big garden blooms, when I'm taking those from the cutting garden a little bit later in the season, I take a bucket of water straight to the plant. The minute I cut, immediately into that water, it prevents an airlock from forming.
Because it's so hollow, I've seen some folk actually turn them upside down and fill them up, almost like a beaker.
Plug in the stems.
Yes.
And if you do that, a little bit of cotton wool just then inserted into the base of the stem.
Stop it running out.
Takes that water right down to that delicate tip of the delphinium.
Here you've got your alliums going
I'm an allium addict, Alan.
Well, I have to be now, because Purple Rain, which I planted in my old Purple Sensations it was then, the newer ones, Purple Rain, they spread like wildfire in your border. I mean, fine if you enjoy them, which I do, but you've got to kind of keep them to an area.
You have, but isn't it nice to have a bit of pretty rain?
Any
rain is welcome. Any flowery rain is welcome.
Oh, you noticed he'll turn it round in a minute and you'll see what he's doing, because it's quite sensational, the bit that I can see.
It's the suspense that I'm building up here, it's the anticipation.
See what Jonathan's putting in, but you can't see how
Because
dramatic.
to me, Alan, when I'm doing this, it's sort of a climax of all these colours and shapes and forms working together, which it's almost like bringing a flower show indoors, this. It's over the top, I admit it, and it's flamboyant, but it's wonderful.
It's viburnum opulus, which is kind of green when it comes out, limey green, and then it goes white.
Yeah, and those pendulous heads just drooping down on the bush.
You know, some people are rude about pink flowering cherries.
Oh, it's...
I love it. I mean,
it's just... it's
How
adorable. How can you be
that?
rude about that? It's just a must-have branch, isn't it?
You wait till you see this.
It's just fantastic. It really is.
Amazing.
It's almost like a early summer wedding, isn't it? When the blossoms out and it's all flying around. It's spectacular.
Gorgeous.
It really is stunning. So just giving it a little bit of a tummy there.
Go on then, turn it around.
There we are.
Show them what they've been missing. Oh my goodness! I mean, look, it's like a Dutch painting. You know those Dutch flower paintings?
Yes, the Dutch Flemish flower
Where they mixed all the
painting.
seasons up, really. But that is so good. I'd love to freeze that.
Yeah, just freeze it in time, make a picture of it. But there's a lot of flower content in there, Alan, and you know we have to sort of have volume to create something like this.
But it is something you could do from your garden.
You could do it from your garden, but you could also
keep
do
it facing
a
them,
little bit of a border by
That's it.
creating a border indoors.
Yes.
And do a little bit of picking from the garden. These jars are fantastic, Alan, because they come with these detachable grids.
No, I've not seen these before.
So they're really clever little things, these. As you know, we're moving away from the green stuff, the floral foam.
Yeah.
So the great thing is we're getting loads of containers being created that facilitate for people to easily create an arrangement by making it easy, because you've got a receptacle like this to feed delicate
otherwise
stems
they just
through
all
little
lean out
holes.
around the rim, don't
They
they?
do, yeah. It's doing its own little bit of movement now in the breeze, billowing in the breeze there. But these are great, and you could use these at any time of year. A little bit later, they're fantastic with sweet peas in.
That's ranunculus.
Oh, aren't they? Just look at that one.
Oh, wonderful.
It's like a decadent dessert.
It is, isn't it?
A dessert for the eye.
Well. Now, I've spotted just behind you.
Yes.
That coral charm. Is that coral
Peony.
charm?
It is, absolutely.
This is a peony called coral charm,
Take a
which
look
is
at
the
that.
most glorious colour.
Isn't it
I mean,
spectacular?
that is just
And it
stunning, isn't it?
ages, Alan, even better. And my top tip for people with peonies, always wait while you can see some true petal colour showing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if they're like green bullets, they'll sometimes stay as green bullets.
I wrote a poem about the peony.
Did you?
Behold the powdered dowager, her hair rinsed candy pink. There she is.
It's so true.
There is something about the dowager, you know.
There is,
and,
yes.
and the other is her bosom swathed in mink. You know, she's one of those.
She's quite
isn't she?
resplendent, isn't
She is
she,
rather
really?
resplendent. It's glorious colour.
But so lovely. And a good tip is, if it looks like you've picked them and they're not actually starting to open and they're still in bud,
Yeah.
just take the bud, lukewarm water, just swill the head gently for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, just in the water. And the water starts to lubricate the petals because they've got that sort of sticky substance over them,
Yes.
which ants
Ants
feed on,
love. You
don't they?
get
They
ants on
absolutely
your
love.
peony buds,
And the
yeah.
ants are great because they're getting rid of that stickiness, which encourages your buds to open. So it's a good symbiotic relationship that's existing there. But
You
if
never stop learning in this game. I did not know that. I knew I get ants on my peony buds. I didn't realise that they were quite useful.
Yeah, they're helping your peonies to open out. But if you haven't got ants and your peonies blocked, then a little bit of a swill with water,
Right.
that does the trick. So these
Lovely
little jars,
mixture here. We've
just
got
so sweet to
love
make.
in a mist there, without
Bit
a
of
flower.
nigella, some
Yeah.
beplurum, good old astrantia into here, which is such a useful flower. I
And it is
love
ostensibly a
astrantias.
jam jar, isn't it? Really?
It's a jam
Just
jar
nice
with a
jam
decorative
jar.
lid that
Yeah.
makes everybody an expert, because you can place a little bit of rhythm through here. You've got some movement from the blooms in there. And we can do sort of different dynamics. You know, I've got one here that I've added a little bit more plant material
Look at
into.
that. I'm laying coral charm down.
One of my
That's
favourites,
gorgeous.
Solomon seal, Alan.
Oh, yes.
Oh, so
Lovely
beautiful.
with these dangling bells.
Pendulous little bells.
Yeah, wonderful. They're wonderfully statuesque, aren't
They are quite sculptural. But
Yeah.
we've brought a Chelsea border indoors here, Alan.
You have. It's stunning, and I love to see a complete mixture of colours.
Oh, me too.
We
A
don't necessarily
riot.
need to tone.
No.
It is.
Nature's not toning, is it?
No. I mean, what could be nicer than coming down in the morning and seeing that on your kitchen table? Jonathan, you're a
Lifts the
star.
spirits.
It does. Enjoy the flower shows. You'll
And
be
you.
at just about all of them, I know.
I will,
so-
pretty much so. Yes,
Enjoy.
yes. Thank you, Alan.
Camilla Bassett-Smith, she joins us now with her May diary bursting with plants and flowers found at Highgrove. Good morning,
Yes,
Camilla.
good morning, Alan. And a really royal selection of plants, as you say, fit for a plant-loving king this morning. And starting off with the Time Walk, not to be confused with the Time Warp.
No,
That
that's
well-loved
something
pop
completely
party
different.
song, very different,
I've
yes.
never seen him do that, but I've
No.
seen his Time Walk.
Which is stunning,
Aren't they
isn't
lovely?
it? And such a wide selection that you can get. And these gorgeous aromatic herbs are so good for any garden, in small pots, on balconies.
She said, when I start, get planting up
Yeah,
that.
it
So
could
that's,
be-
I'm just getting
yeah,
on,
you'll be
you know.
busy, I said,
Yeah, I will.
you know.
Lots of different ones here.
Yeah, there are. So you've got lemon variegated here, this beautiful one. And the thing with times, in the scenario that they're used in that Time Walk, is very much in the ground to be walked around, really, in a pond.
They can
Because-
take a bit of
yeah.
crushing with your feet, can't they?
Yeah, and
without
as you do that,
too
it
much
releases those aromas. And actually, the word thyme comes from the ancient Greek for to fumigate.
Does it really?
Yeah, they used to use it. They used to burn it as incense. And those gorgeous aromas come out. Good idea to clip them back after flowering. You get flowers of sort of whites and pinks, don't you, in the summer?
Because they can get a bit leggy, can't they?
Yeah, they can. So give them a little trim. But they look stunning. And at Highgrove, they're grown amongst golden yews. This is a young one, so it doesn't look too golden at the moment. But clipped into remarkable topiary shapes, aren't they?
They're amazingly spectacular and quite large too, aren't they? They are.
Makes a
just
lovely
about
pot,
done.
doesn't it?
Quick
Really
job.
great by a
Tidy
doorstep.
up. Yeah.
Bit of grit on the top and
brush it
off
when you go out.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely.
Moving on to stumperies. Now, Charles, hopefully I can get away with calling him Charles because you know him and I'm
Sir,
called Camilla.
I think, yeah.
So, sir. I thought we'd get away with that then. He had a stumpery created in the 1990s with the Bannermans.
Yeah.
And I believe was the largest stumpery in the UK at the time, probably still is.
It's still spectacular. Yeah, Julia and Isabel Bannerman, they make these amazing things, confections out of old tree stumps.
Much larger than this here,
Yeah.
but you get the idea. And originally to host the King's collection of large-leaved hostas. And hostas are so great, aren't they? If you can keep the slugs away.
Yes, there's 5-star hotels for slugs.
Yeah, they are indeed.
Yeah.
But garlic wash or many other things hopefully keeps them away in a different hotel. This one here is king size, and it really can get huge. And these are examples of ones that are actually grown at Highgrove. So king size there.
There's
You've
another
also
one called
got
Summoned
Majesty.
Substance, which is massive.
Yes, that's really
it's
large.
about the
isn't it?
biggest one, isn't it?
Yeah, but such great plants. And ferns as well. Of course, stumperies are really dead wood to house shade-loving plants.
And they just run their roots through it and really enjoy that organic earth.
They
It's
do.
damp.
And those lovely, lovely ferns. They're, of course, ferns over 300 million years old, so they've been around a long time, longer than
You're good for your age, aren't you?
They're doing very, very well.
Yeah.
But so easy to grow these things and fun and put mosses in there. And for children, it's a great thing to do.
It is, it's lovely, and it's useful in that corner of the garden where it doesn't get much light and you're struggling to know what to do with it. And some ferns, like the Polisticums, they're really good in quite dry soil, so that's
Yes,
useful
yeah,
as well.
so quite easy to look after. So that's your stumperies. But moving on to a wedding now, of course, in 2005, Charles and Camilla married. And in Camilla's wedding bouquet, she had Lily of the Valley, which, I mean, what a quintessential May flowering plant they
They're
are, aren't they?
gorgeous, they're so beautiful. You can't resist the smell.
So sweet.
Oh my goodness, glorious. I mean, you look at the shape of those bells, they're divine, aren't they? It's like a little cloche hat.
It really, yes, it is. I hadn't thought of that.
Am I
It really
meant
is.
to be
Do you want to
doing-
make a little,
Oh, you know.
bouquet in a pot, Alan?
just
if
the garden
if you
labourer
wouldn't
here,
mind.
really.
I know. Well, you do it
Need
so
a bit
well.
more
That's the
than
thing. But she had primulas. I think they were probably Primula auricula, but you get the idea in these kind of soft colours, and also myrtle from the royal myrtle bush in the Isle of Wight, which goes back to Victorian times, doesn't it?
It does, because Queen Victoria had it in her wedding bouquet, and the plants that are growing on the Isle of Wight are still relatives of Queen Victoria's myrtle. And every royal wedding bouquet has had a sprig of myrtle
Which
like that
is
from
so lovely.
the royal plant.
Yeah. This one is from my plant, which is not as impressive as the royal plant, but it'll do.
Oh, you're
it'll do.
regal to me.
I'm happy. Oh, that's very sweet.
Well, especially
we'll
your
have a
red, white
regal
and blue.
name.
Have you seen the fingernails? Have you seen? Look,
Clearly, I have too much time on my hands.
I haven't got enough compost for this, but you get the general
Yeah,
idea.
and that's really, really pretty. I mean, of course, Lily of the Valley, shade lovers, although my grandfather had them in full sun.
Yeah, mine grow in dappled and they run. When they're
do.
happy,
Yeah.
they fill the ground and run. Sometimes you just can't get them going. Don't know why.
And
Move
then
them
suddenly,
somewhere else.
once they go,
Yeah.
the pink ones I've not got, but the white ones I have finally got. And off
There's
they go.
also a little yellow striped variegated one which I've got. If you haven't got it, I'll bring you a bit.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
Right.
I'll hold you to that. And down the front, just I've been raiding the cupboards again at home.
So what have we got here?
So we've got coronation mugs going right back to Edward VII.
Gracious.
Then we have George V,
Yeah.
Edward VIII.
Who wasn't crowned.
No, indeed.
Right.
So they're quite unusual mugs to
Yeah.
have. Then George VI.
Yeah.
Elizabeth
II.
II, and then our current King and Queen. So a full run, and also in the middle there we have the coronation coach. This was my
coach.
father's toy from 53.
Which they tell us, those who've ridden in it's under the sovereign right, it is the most uncomfortable thing on those
So
leather
I believe,
straps.
I
Goodness
can
me, you
imagine.
can see it jogging
But sounds
around.
good fun.
Yes,
I'll
why
never have a
not?
chance, but
Why
anyway.
not? But here, lovely flowers.
Yes.
He loves wearing a buttonhole, the king, and pink's here, one of his favourites, I
Yeah, a
think.
very classic cottage garden, and Highgrove has, I think, two different cottage gardens, doesn't it? One more traditional style and slightly more modern. Delphiniums, as you know, are believed to be one of his favourite
like his
flowers.
delphiniums,
They're not
yeah.
out yet, but they will be soon. Alchemilla mollis there, one of Camilla's favourites. Now, I wondered, because I like it because it sounds like my name. So I wondered if this is the reason that she also likes it. Maybe not. But lovely frothy flowers. And also you've got Dicentra, bleeding hearts. This is a new one on me, Valentine, a slightly darker.
Oh, it is. It's a
colour with the
duskier
stems,
pink,
rather
isn't
than your
it?
front one, which is the.
Shall I do my
something
trick on this?
gold.
Because this, there it is. It's called bleeding heart. You can see why. Sorry about my dirty fingers. Bleeding heart. But when it's also known as Lady in the Bath, and when you turn it up and pull those petals out, there she is. I think she's lost her soap or
She's searching.
a sponge.
Yeah, she's
It's down
searching
here
for
somewhere.
something.
I know, I'll put it here.
Under all the bubbles, yeah. Having a nice, relaxing time, hopefully as the King and Queen will have after this weekend. And then Gertrude Jekyll, this is the vinca on the end here.
This is a periwinkle.
Indeed.
That's
and
gorgeous.
This is
isn't it?
Gertrude Jekyll, the variety. And of course, Gertrude Jekyll, plants woman known for her love of cottage garden planting. So, so delicate.
Super. But here's something that takes me back. We had one outside our back door.
Did you?
Flowering currants. Some people hate it. I love. It smells of black currants.
Yes,
It's a
it
currant
does.
bush.
Yeah, it is. And I really like that scent. It takes me back to being small. And the colour of that one is quite light. And the variety is King Edward, so a royal plant.
King Edward, there you are. Ribes sanguineum, meaning blood red. It's not quite blood red. There are dark ones too, like
Yes, the
Pulborough
normal- yes,
scarlet.
yeah,
but
the
King
normal
Edward's a
ones,
good one for the coronation.
Yeah. Matches
isn't
your
it?
shirt as well, Alan.
Thank you. I thought tactful, wasn't it? And you've brought us some stamps as well.
I have, and these are the first stamps with the King's head on them.
Ah, yeah.
And florally fantastic, aren't they? I mean, just look at them.
Well,
Beautiful.
this is a sovereign who's done more for plants, gardens, flowers, nature and conservation than any other sovereign before him.
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's really appropriate. We had flowers on the coronation invitation. We've had coronation meadows. It's been marvellous what he's done for this.
Yeah, it really has, and will continue to do so.
Yeah.
Happy coronation.
Happy coronation to you and to them. I hope they're having a lie down in a darkened room now with a cold compress
They
and
need
some
it. Yeah.
nice pinks to smell. Thanks, Camilla.